Hi friends, it's Sarah from Ruffles and Rainboots.com, and today I'm here with another thrift store sweater, gnome craft. Boop! Let's make a cute little pudgy gnome. As always, please hit that like button so I know you're here and it helps me out. So here's what we're going to be making today. You can add arms with some scraps, but I decided just to make this cute little pudgy gnome. Here is the sweater we're using. Last week I shared this little section is now a wine topper or a wine sleeve, and you can make that. I'll put the link to that above. This week, I think I'm going to create a sweater. So I get a lot of requests for how to make a gnome hat out of a sweater, how to make a gnome out of a sweater sleeve, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to cut right below the armpit, and that will leave me about 16 inches of fabric. Now, if you have a different sweater that has a longer sleeve or shorter sleeve, if you have fleece, if you have anything with some sort of stretch, you can use that. Just cut it and make a rectangle. That's it. So that's all this is a rectangle, and it's 16 inches from the little tip up here to the bottom. Now, I don't like this little slit, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm going to make a mark and cut at 8 inches because that's going to give me, I know it doesn't look like it, but that's going to give me an equal section. Now there's a big wide section at the bottom, and I'm going to teach you that's where we want to make the bottom of our gnome. It'll be wider, it'll be pudgy, but it's also going to be really easy to make him look super cute. So you don't have to sew this by hand. You can actually just grab a rubber band and secure it with a tie, some kind of string afterward. But I do believe if you want to sell at craft fairs or on Etsy or Mercari or whatever, do sew this. It's a simple running stitch, in and out. That's all. You don't have to do any special knots. You don't have to do any special sewing. About 1/2 inch away from the edge, you're just going in and out all the way around. When we pull it together, it's going to create a nice join for us that's going to keep in all of our weight and all of the stuffing. So you can see this is actually real time. I'm watching TikToks off to the side while I'm doing this. By the way, if you're on TikTok, I love it. I'm learning so much. I'm on the crafty side of TikTok, but follow me over there. I'm Ruffles and Rain Boots. You can find me easily. Okay, so I'm going to just end right where I started. Now, I threw my needle. It almost went off the table. And if you saw the state of my craft room, you'd know I'd never find it again. So I'm going to pull this taut like this, but because I have so much thread here, I don't want to waste it. I'm going to pull one side and then tie it off with this little tiny short side. We're going to use that thread again, so don't toss it. All right, so a couple knots here, making sure everything is tight. You can secure the knot with hot glue if you want, and then trim. We're just going to, again, we're going to set aside that thread. We're just going to turn it right side out. When we fill it, this creates a nice wide bottom. Look at that. You can also use a box pleat bottom if you want to do that. I've showed how to make those with hot glue as well. So we're going to create the same exact thing up at the top. And the reason we are is because I think this is the most secure kind of thing. And if you're gifting these to people or you're selling them, sometimes taking shortcuts is not a good idea. I do spend a good portion of my time helping consumers fix gnomes that have been sent to them. So I would just say, if you are tying this off with a rubber band, maybe consider sewing it, or at least rubber banding it and then adding a string tie around that. Okay. So we're coming out right next to where we started again, removing our needle. We don't need that anymore. And now it's time to fill it. So as for fill, I'm going to be using poly pellets in the bottom and then stuffing on top. You can get poly fill, the stuffing, at any craft store or in any big box store. Buy some cheap pillows. For the fill, or for this poly pellets, that's my weight. You can use anything you'd like. Try not to use something that's moisture absorbing like kitty litter or Epsom salt unless you have secured it in an airtight container you know will not open. All right, so I'm just going to fill that until when I squeeze it, it bounces back, and then I'm just going to tie this off the same exact way. Now, this little guy takes exactly this long to make. I am not editing anything out. I am not speeding anything up. I believe in telling you if something's going to take 12 minutes. It's going to take 12 minutes. I will edit out any drying time for the hot glue because we do, on the hat especially, when we do anything with hot glue, we want to make sure that is set before moving on. But everything else you see, there's my drop test. Y'all know I like to do the drop test on everything. And now we're going to do our hat. So the first part of the hat, because I'm using a sweater that is knit, I'm going to have to hem this. I don't want to take it to the sewing machine because you all have asked for more hot glue. So I'm going to just hot glue hem this bad boy. I am using a Surebonder detail tip glue gun. It takes the mini glue sticks. Speaking of glue sticks, they are not fabric glue sticks. If you have fabric glue sticks, you can use them. If you have fabric glue like E6000 Fabric Fuse or whatever other glue you like, Liquid Stitch, you can do this with that as well. It's easy peasy. If you'd like to hand sew this and create that torturous action for yourself, go ahead and hand sew it. I'm just going to glue it. Glue it with hot glue, works perfectly fine. Now once that has set, we can turn it right side out and work on the rest of this guy. He's super pudgy, he's super cute, and mine is going to be minimally decorated. So I'm going to use a bit of twine here, but you use anything you want. Again, you can sew this up at the top and gather it the same way we've gathered everything else on the body, or you can be lazy, like moi, and just tie it off. I'm just trying to position this little cutout on the inside because I don't like it, and I don't want to take the time to sew it up or anything, so I'm just going to tuck it in. Tuck it in. No one's going to notice. No one except me. Well, now, and you. Okay, so when I get that double tied and double knotted, I'm going to add on a couple of beads. And in order to do that, I apologize for having to show this, but you're going to add some artist tape, painter's tape, whatever, to the end of the twine. Just a little bit, make sure it's tight, and then cut off the excess. The reason we're doing that is because you can add smaller beads onto larger twine this way. I apologize because I know there's going to be somebody who's like, I already know how to do that. You didn't have to show us that. But here's the thing. These videos live forever, and there's going to be somebody who doesn't know it. So I apologize if this is boring to you. I promise we're almost done. Now I'm just going to add a little knot here at the bottom. I will secure the bottom bead to the knot with some hot glue. And the reason I do that is just to make sure that knot doesn't go anywhere either, because I am going to cut off the end. Snippity doo-dah, and a little bit of glue, and then I'm just going to press that bottom one right on top. Bloop. Okay. And you can see I just added a little glue to my finger. All right, so we're going to scoosh those down, cut off this extra piece here. We've already double knotted it, so we do not need it. And our hat decoration is done. I would love to hear in the comments how you would decorate this guy using whatever. Let me know. I'm always open for your creative ideas. All right, so I'm lining up the stitching and the cute little decorations on the fabric. And then here's my very technical measurement of putting my hands on the gnome and seeing how wide I want to make the beard. For those of you who've never cut faux fur, only cut the fabric backing with an X-Acto knife, a box cutter, or a razor. You will get nice fluffy bits of fur. So unlike the wine sleeve that I shared last week, this guy, we're just going to glue this straight onto the body. The reason we're doing that, not tucking down the top, is because we have the hat to hide that ugly cut fabric along the top. So just glue this down, making sure it is secure. You can pick up the sides like I have here and just make sure all those corners are down. It does help when people are playing with it and, you know, handling it not to have anything lift and come apart. All right, so I've got to line up my little, you know, I got a piece of fuzz. I have to line up my little extra bit on the hat over here. See those lines? I know it doesn't come across very well on video, but it looks really cool, all of the texture on this in person. I just like it. All right, so now I'm just going to position this into place, making sure all of my fur is pointed down and underneath the hat. I'm going to scrunch up the hat to see where I want to place the nose. I'm going to lift up a little bit of that fur, find the center of the beard, pull the fabric or the fur away from the fabric and get to this little part. This is the fabric backing. If we glue to that, it will be the most secure join and your little noses won't pop off. All right, Generous portion of hot glue. I'm taking a 1-inch flat back wood bead or wood cabochon, and I'm sticking it on there, pressing it in. Oh, it looks like it hurts. I'm sorry, little guy, but I don't want this nose to move. That's exactly how long I'm holding it down. It is not edited out. I apologize for that as well. So now we're just going to final assembly the gnome, and as you guessed, you can absolutely sew this down. If you are selling, adding a couple of sewn stitches to each side is not going to hurt you. I'm just saying. But I'm going to glue mine down because this is for me. So, actually, I'm not sure if I'm going to give this away to somebody who I know and love. But right now, he's for me. Okay, so I'm just going to glue down both sides. And I'm going to glue down the back, so I'm going to just make sure those are set before I glue down anything else. For this guy, I'm actually not gluing down the nose or the front of the hat because I can just pull it down and squish it, and I have that hair over the nose, which needs to pop out. All right, so here in the back, I'm just going to glue all of this down, making sure I'm gluing on the hem portion so no glue shows through. And guess what? Here he is. He's pretty plain, but I think he's adorable. What do you think? Are you joining me for this sweater challenge? Let me know down below. As always, thank you so much for being here. I sincerely appreciate it. Please like, please share this video, and subscribe for more crafty fun.